Guilty on all counts, Donald Trump becomes first U.S. president convicted of a crime. Donald Trump found guilty in historic New York hush money case. Morning report, Trump is convicted, but will it matter? Trump found guilty on all counts. 5 takeaways from the verdict. Jury finds Trump guilty on 34 counts. First president convicted of felony. Live updates. Trump verdict throws election into uncharted territory. Democrats say Biden caved on red line warning in Rafah. Sharpton invokes Central Park 5 in response to Trump guilty verdict. Pro-Trump celebs decry disgusting guilty verdict. Still voting for Trump. Celebrities react to Donald Trump's guilty verdict in hush money trial. Trump Biden debate will face obstacles in bypassing commission. Co-chair predicts U.S. China to resume military talks in coming months. Austin with prolonged Gaza war. Israel's Netanyahu may outlast Biden. Analysts. Biden allows Ukraine to hit Russian targets with U.S. arms. Angering Moscow. AI programs can easily impersonate Biden. Others to manipulate elections. Study first 2024 forecast from the Hill and Decision Desk. HQ projects. GOP has edge for president and U.S. Senate. Closer call for U.S. House. Supreme Court unanimously rules for NRA in free speech fight. Biden partially lifts ban on Ukraine using U.S. weapons to strike Russia. Advocates call on Johnson to introduce broader radiation exposure bill next week after Trump guilty verdict. U.S. divisions deepen as Russia extends sympathy. Netanyahu criticizes Biden administration for not backing ICC sanctions. Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu criticized the Biden administration for not backing sanctions against the International Criminal Court over the Israel-Hamas war. Next breaking news. Senate Democrats call for DOJ to probe big oil over price-fixing allegations. Senate Majority Leader Chuck Schumer led 23 Democratic senators Thursday in a call for the Justice Department to investigate allegations of price-fixing by major oil companies. Next breaking news. Internet providers agree to continue discounted plans through end of 2024 as federal subsidies end. More than a dozen internet service providers have agreed to continue offering discounted internet plans to low-income households through the end of 2024 as the federal program subsidizing the discounts comes to an end, the Biden administration announced Friday. Next breaking news. Americans don't want lab-grown meat shoved down their throats. Activist investor Ari Nessel recently wrote a piece in The Hill criticizing Florida for banning the sale and distribution of lab-grown meat. Nessel's position is understandable, given that his company has invested in lab-grown seafood. Next breaking news. GOP faces internal battle over defense spending. Republican lawmakers are facing an internal battle over defense spending as prominent Republicans including Senate Minority Leader Mitch McConnell and Sen. Roger Wicker, the top Republican on the Senate Armed Services Committee, are pushing for big increases while conservatives are raising alarms over the debt. Next breaking news. OpenAI says it disrupted Chinese, Russian, Israeli influence campaigns. Artificial intelligence company OpenAI has announced that it disrupted covert influence campaigns originating from Russia, China, Israel, and Iran. Next breaking news. South Africa election results live. ANC short of majority after 60% votes. The ruling African National Congress Party in the lead with over 60% of the votes counted. However, it is falling short of a majority. Next breaking news. How a shadowy Meta, YouTube black market clouds India election integrity. New Delhi, India. In 2019, political consultant Tushar Giri found himself in a room with a distraught veteran leader from Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi's Bharatiya Janata Party. Next breaking news. Mexico will elect its first woman president. What will it mean for women? Mexico is on the verge of electing its first female president. But there have been historic levels of violence in this election, and violence against women is still rampant across the country. What difference will either Claudia Sheinbaum or Xochitl Gálvez make for Mexican women? Next breaking news. Israel's war on Gaza live. Most of Jabalia refugee camp in ruins. Israel's 20-day operation in Jabalia destroyed much of the city, including more than 1,000 homes, civil defense spokesman Mahmoud Basil says. Next breaking news. Biden's support among Arab Americans plummets amid Gaza war. New poll shows Washington, D.C. Joe Biden's support among Arab American voters in critical swing states has plummeted during the war in Gaza, a new poll found, in the latest sign that the United States president's backing of Israel could hurt him in November's election. Next breaking news. Driver accused of jumping curb, targeting people outside New York City Jewish school. A motorist jumped a curb and tried to mow down people outside an Orthodox Jewish school in New York City on Wednesday, authorities said. Next breaking news: French Open bans alcohol from the stands following rowdy behavior by fans. Organizers of the French Open, one of the 4 Grand Slam tournaments in professional tennis, banned alcohol sales for fans following a week of rowdy behavior in the stands. Next breaking news: third person infected in U.S. bird flu outbreak, but with new symptoms. Another human case of bird flu linked to sick dairy cows has been detected in Michigan, marking the third farmworker diagnosed with the illness in the United States since March, the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention reported Thursday. None of the cases are connected. Next breaking news: after nation's first nitrogen gas execution, Alabama set to give men lethal injection for 2 slayings. Montgomery, Alabama is set to execute a man Thursday evening who was convicted of bludgeoning an elderly couple to death 20 years ago to steal prescription drugs and $140 from their home. Next breaking news: lobbying world, FinTech Trade Association snags bank group lobbyist Sarah Mamula is joining the Financial Technology Association as head of government affairs. Mamula joins the FinTech Trade Association from the Bank Policy Institute, where she was vice president for government affairs. Next breaking news: inflation ticked up in Europe in May. That likely won't stop a central bank rate cut next week. Inflation ticked up to an annual 2.6% in Europe in May, according to official figures on Friday. That's more than expected, as a painful spike in consumer prices takes its time to fade away. Next breaking news: Pakistan PM Shehbaz Sharif to visit China next week to further boost bilateral ties. Launch second phase of CPEC. Pakistan Prime Minister Shehbaz Sharif will embark on a 5-day visit to China on Tuesday to further strengthen bilateral ties, the Foreign Office announced on Friday, as the all-weather allies seek to upgrade cooperation under the multi-billion-dollar China-Pakistan economic corridor. Next breaking news: Apple plans AI-based Siri overhaul to control individual app functions. Apple Inc. is planning to overhaul its Siri virtual assistant with more advanced artificial intelligence, a move that will let users control individual app functions with their voice, according to people with knowledge of the matter. Next breaking news: the latest, 12 killed in airstrikes in central Gaza as strikes targeting Houthi rebels kill 16. At least a dozen people were killed in 2 airstrikes Friday in central Gaza. 2 children and 4 women were among the dead. Next breaking news: UN refugee chief says 114 million have fled homes because nations failed to tackle causes of conflict. United Nations, the number of people fleeing their homes because of war, violence, and persecution has reached 114 million and is climbing because nations have failed to tackle the causes and combatants are refusing to comply with international law, the UN refugee chief said Thursday. Next breaking news: girls are getting their periods earlier and regularity is changing. According to a new study, new research shows girls are getting their first period earlier, and cycles are taking longer to become regular, especially Black and Asian children and those with lower socioeconomic status. That's according to a study published Wednesday in the Journal of the American Medical Association. Next breaking news: Supreme Court rules for NRA in New York government coercion battle. Washington, the Supreme Court ruled Thursday that the National Rifle Association can pursue a claim that a New York state official's efforts to encourage companies to end ties with the gun rights group constituted unlawful coercion. Next breaking news: Ron DeSantis hopes to raise at least $10 million to boost Trump. Tallahassee, Florida Gov. Ron DeSantis hopes to raise at least $10 million as part of a multi-state fundraising swing for former President Donald Trump, a man he fought in a bitter primary race but with whom he has now found a cautious truce. Please like, share, and subscribe to our YouTube channel for getting latest update of United States, trending news and top stories about USA.